Greetings, everybody. Father Mike here. This is News from the Pews. Billy Cross, welcome.
Oh, thank you so much.
We are so glad that you are here as our distinguished guest. And not only is Billy our guest today, but Bear is our guest as well. Billy, tell us about Bear.
Bear is our 5-month-old Labradoodle. We got him right at Thanksgiving, like the day before, spontaneously, which is the best time to get a dog. And then we immediately got sick, and Brittany and I both came down with the flu. So it was a crazy time, but he's better trained. He's still a puppy, so he'll probably run around a bunch.
He is a big boy.
Big 5-month, yep.
Look at that fur.
Very much a big teddy bear, though.
And Glory, everybody, you can see her right here. She is being very hospitable to Bear. And they have become fast friends. They met a time or two before, and this time is their first time on the video together. And so, Bear, we're happy you're here. Glory, we're happy you're here. And look at Glory. That she is losing her winter coat all over my black. And so I like to say that that I am covered in glory because I have her fur everywhere. I cracked myself up. Oh my gosh. Billy Cross, we are so happy you are here on News from the Pews. It dawned on me last weekend, Billy, that we're on a 3-year cycle with our readings, A, B, and C, as you know. And we are in year A right now with our liturgy cycle. So last week was the second Sunday of Lent. The last time we had those readings was the last normal weekend before COVID.
Yeah, that was like the time I think I moved to Shelbyville.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that was, what a hoot that was, because you had arranged to move here before we even knew this was coming. And then the move-in day was like what? Like the day before we actually shut down?
Yeah, it was like the week that it all shut down.
It really was kind of interesting. And then Father Adam Ahern moved in like a week or two later. And then Tyler moved in, whose birthday was yesterday, by the way. I guess by the time this airs, it'll be 2 days ago. But anyway, we had all these intentions of, I thought, boy, this is an opportunity for us to really kind of take on a monastic schedule. So that first day we were shut down, remember we prayed at 5 a.m. in the church?
Yeah, we did. And then we did it on St. Joe's Feast.
Yes.
As well. We did the Liturgy of the Hours, every single one, which that was the first time I had done every single one.
Yes. The Divine Office.
Yes. Yep.
Yes, and the 5 a.m. thing only lasted one day.
Yeah, but we ended that pretty quick.
But what was awesome, we turned the youth room into our movie theater, and it was just
reception. Yes,
it was
quite
something else. Gosh, it was the feast day of St. Joseph, right when that all happened.
Something I remember is, COVID was extremely difficult for a lot of people, but for me, and a lot of people weren't able to receive the Eucharist, but I received the Eucharist more during the time of COVID than I ever had in my entire life. Yeah. And it was just an absolute blessing, but also very humbling, and thinking, why am I the one that gets to do this? Why am I the one that gets to receive? There are many, many holier people than me in this parish, both here and in St. Vincent, but super humbling, and offering it all up. And looking back, it was just nothing but grace. Nothing but grace. So.
Nothing but grace. It was, and it's been grace that got us through, and of course we're still prevailing, but it was like last weekend, we had over 1,000 people at Mass, and that was more than we had before COVID. So, I mean, we kind of went into thinking, is everybody ever going to come back?
Yeah.
Are we going to be okay? And God has anointed us, and of course, there's been things to mourn, but there's been things to celebrate with it all too. So getting through it all. Yeah. But anyway, Billy Cross is on the News from the Pews because Billy is coming back to work at St. Joe.
You probably flipped my boss out there.
I made that up right now. I wish it was true, but it's not. Billy is at Marian University.
Yes.
Billy, tell us about your position at Marian.
Yeah, as much as I do miss St. Joe in a lot of ways, and youth group and all of that, I am the as of last June, I am the director of the Missionary Disciples Institute. It's a week-long youth theological institute where youth can come and live on campus in intentional community for a week, hang out with college students, learning directly from professors, and they grow both in their relationship with God. Yeah, I'm letting him go too.
We'll just let them have fun and see what happens.
Growing in their relationship with God, but also understanding themselves as a leader, and what it means that, the youth, we say that the young church or the church of the future, but a lot of high schoolers don't understand that, they are also the church of right now.
Glory.
And they have a role and a voice and a place within the church.
Yes.
And also a call that they need to respond to as well. So.
That's right.
Yeah.
They do. And they are the now of the church. I mean, Billy, we have a few signed up already at St. Joseph to take part at MDI, don't we? For
yes.
This coming summer.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
You have to be a high schooler.
Yep.
So
you have to be current freshmen to current juniors, because the whole point of MDI is you're developing a mission plan and you're trying to, like I said, with that leadership development, it's finding your mission.
Right.
You recognize the need in your own community, and you, as a high schooler, should be empowered to be able to,
Glory.
enact that and bring that to fruition. So it's all about.
And you never know if a growl is a let's play or let's fight. I think they're playing. Their tails are waggy.
Yeah.
I think we're okay. Yeah, they're fine.
I'm not worried. Plus, Glory can kind of put him in his place, and he'll learn his lesson. So
he'll learn his lesson.
But
and
yeah.
all the other dogs watching will also. Okay, good. So we've got some signed up already. What would you say, Billy, to parents who are watching and have high school kids? Do you think they should encourage their youth to go?
Absolutely. I think that, MDI is definitely not, as in Missionary Disciples Institute, MDI. It's not for every single high schooler. Hey.
Bear thinks they should come too.
Yes, absolutely. But I think that if you want to help your youth, or your high schooler or your child, really deepen their relationship, like I said, and also kind of find out their goal or their mission, or even start to begin to develop what goals they have for their life and their role in the church. If you're wanting to bring that out in your child, I think MDI is such an amazing way to do that. Also, I think specifically for juniors and maybe even some sophomores that are thinking about, is college for me? College isn't for everyone. But if college is for me, how do I understand and what is it like to live on a campus? What's it like to live in a dorm, to see a dorm? What are college students kind of like? In a Catholic university, in a vibrant program like Sondom, they get that sort of experience. It's definitely, we put a lot of time and focus into this 1 week, but it definitely gives them an opportunity to see campus and Marion in this unique way. Yeah. So, yeah.
Hey. Yep. Hey.
He'll just play. Come here.
Look at that. Now that there is a picture. Glory, get over here.
Good boy.
You go and come up here.
He'll whine because he wants to play.
Oh, look at this, Billy. We've got our dogs on our laps. Oh my gosh. I hope my microphone didn't silence. But anyway, now Billy, let me ask you this. So they come up, they have a week of fun. There's just it's a fun time. It's meant to be. It's not let's just be boring and pray all day every day for a week. No, it's fun.
We've got a bunch of awesome activities. We have a house band that stays with us the entire week called the Hussey Brothers. You can look them up on Spotify.
Oh, they're great. They're great.
But we also have awesome keynote speakers this year. Mike Potton, who's a international keynote speaker. Vanessa Suleta Goldberg. We have an OFM. Friar Mario Serrano, who is coming to stay with us, and he'll actually be our chaplain for the entire week. And then just recently, we have word that we will have a couple Sisters of Life that are going to come on Thursday to give a keynote, but they're going to stay for 2 or 3 days. So what we try to do at MDI is not only do they give this big keynote, if you've been to any high schooler's been to NCYC or something, you never really get to see the keynotes, but we try to bring have the keynote stay multiple days so that they can have lunch with you and dinner and kind of engage in some activities and you get to know them on a personal level, not just this big keynote speaker level.
Yeah.
So that'll be that's a really fun time. We have a bunch of different activities, plans. There is dynamic prayer. We'll have adoration almost every day, mass every day. But it's mixing the beauty of what it means to be a Catholic fully alive or a Christian fully alive, is we are able to enter into dynamic prayer, but at the same time we can be ourselves and have fun and engage in all the hobbies and the things and the joy of what the gospel is, but the joy of life at the same time as we do the joy of prayer. So it's a great week, really a great week.
There's nothing like friendships that are developed among these sorts of things. I mean, to have good, I've always noticed like saints come in groups, like Francis and Claire, Scholastic and Benedict, the apostles, all these, Isaac Jongas and his companions. And I mean, saints often come in pairs, in groups, and that's what happens in this sort of thing, is these friendships are developed that let's be saints together. Let's live our Catholic faith that we've just inherited from our parents, but let's own it and let's do it together.
Yeah, and also God calls us like individually, but like He calls us as a group of people. He calls us as a community, as a church. And there's within the world today, a lot of high schoolers, I think are just they can't really find their place in their role. Let's settle. Their place in their role. And then we see this kind of, they're leaving the church and they're not really going anywhere else. They call them the nuns or whatever. Yeah. And I think that MDI, like all these programs, is the church's response to, if you're seeing your child start to become this or kind of
distance themselves
from the church or their faith, and they're even if they're struggling with some things, we're all struggling. So if we're all struggling, we should probably do it together. So MDI, I think, is a great way for them to rekindle that fire, but like I said, find their voice in their leadership.
It was interesting because this weekend, the gospel is the Samaritan woman and at the well, and Jesus goes up to her and says, "Give me a drink." Like, He gives her a task, and I was kind of reflecting on that. We were reflecting on that at RCIA the other day. It's like the Lord, and what MDI does is says, like, here's the body of Christ, the church, and there are needs that you can fill.
Yes.
The church needs you, and the church is Jesus.
Yep.
Jesus needs you. He gives you a task. He wants your help. He needs your help, and He doesn't want you just sit in a pew and like a frozen chosen. And, He wants you to be active and own your faith and live it.
You can do something.
Yes.
And I think sometimes in our culture, too, we want speed.
Yeah.
We want speed and things to go fast. But when you work in an institution, I mean, the Catholic Church is alive, and it is the gospel being lived out, but it's also an institution. I heard this from a Dr. Tim O'Malley. Yeah, at a retreat we were both at.
Yes, we were last week.
But that when you're a part of an institution, it is slower. It causes us to slow down. It causes us to reflect. And that's why it takes us time to then have an entire revival of the Eucharist in a conference and for all these bishops to come to Indianapolis. So, a lot of times you have a voice, but also be patient. Be patient with other people. We're trying to work as an entire body to bring the kingdom here now.
And what is so neat, and what was, I mean, you were here 4 years working with youth and all the different things you did here, and to see their growth, to see a kid who didn't even go to Mass a lot of Sundays, all of a sudden own it and love it. And you see this gradual, poco a poco, little by little progress towards the kingdom. Isn't that the most beautiful thing about working with youth?
Absolutely. And
to help contribute to that. And that's, so Billy, I just have to say thank you for doing that for 4 years here, because your impact was huge in helping our kids here grow their friendship with Christ, grow in their own vocations, and all that God is asking them. I think everybody should send their high schooler to MDI. Now tell me, when is the deadline, Billy?
So our first deadline did pass, but you still have time to apply. We have a website. It's marian.edu/MDI.
Is your picture on
there?
Super
simple. My picture?
Yeah. Are you on there?
My contact, you can contact me through the website. My picture is not. All of our high schoolers' pictures are on there. But our website You can go there and apply today or this week. So our first official deadline did pass, but you still have a chance to apply now. So don't wait.
I have to look over here. I will tell everybody just a little tip here. Soon to be a guest on News from the Pews, Heaven Kiesling.
Oh, wonderful.
And Heaven went to MDI two times. And as Billy noted, they have an awesome time. They grow their friendship with Christ. There's this dynamic feel. There's this atmosphere of prayer and just awesomeness, and they get inspired. Then they're inspired to come up with a missionary plan, which they work together with the priest. And Heaven has been working on hers, and she's going to open up some sort of a coffee after Mass.
That's
sort
awesome.
of thing. It's going to be awesome, and not a coffee shop because it's going to be donations and those sorts of things. But what a great thing! I'm excited for it, and so she's going to be on News from the Pews in a few weeks to discuss that and what that's going to look like. But there's a fruit of MDI going to come to this parish, and everybody always says we need coffee, we need community, we need fellowship after Mass, we need coffee, coffee.
And the high schoolers are the ones responding.
And they are.
You know what I mean? Like the youth are the ones responding. Where, us older people, we need the coffee, but sometimes we want to go get it on our own.
Billy, thanks for being on the show. Absolutely. And any final comments? Let me just ask you, what's your favorite thing about working with youth?
Working with youth. Wow, there's a lot. I would say this is kind of an easy answer, I think, but really it's the zeal that they have. I think that with youth, you see youth and young adults, you see the Catholic Church really fully alive in a way that parishes need, I think, more now. And
we're already playing an NCYC.
Yeah.
It's going to be great.
Let's go.
And you're going to be there.
Yep.
It's going to be great. It's going to be epic. And we're playing in summer things. And you're right, the zeal there.
I would also say the reverence that high schoolers are able to have, plus all of their energy, those two things combined.
Reverence and energy.
We
see that in our youth, and we see that in our men at the altar. We see that in all our youth. It's great. I would say one more thing.
Yeah.
Don't you think that it's important for high schoolers to pray about going to a Catholic college?
Oh,
whether it's Marian, whether it's university, wherever. But I just think that we have millions of viewers right here. We better tell them this. It's a good thing to encourage your kids to go to a Catholic college.
Absolutely.
Or to at least pray about it, because you went to a Catholic college.
Yeah, I went to Marian as well. But I think instilling in, first ourselves, and then instilling in our kids and the high schoolers, every decision they make, they need to ask God. Yes. Like, should they make this decision? Where is He feeling like they're pulling? And sometimes it's clear, and sometimes it's really, really hazy, and you don't know. I'm going to let him down. He's being a squirt. But especially with going to a university, and if you're being called, if it's not a Catholic university, I'm going to say Marian's probably one of the greatest universities, and you should send your children there. But looking at the Catholic opportunities that are in each school, because they are there. There are really great Newman centers in a lot of places.
Even if you go to a heathen school like Purdue, they have Dominicans that run a Newman center there. They are on fire.
Yeah.
But we have to encourage youth to take advantage of all these things.
Absolutely. And if your child is thinking of college, and put Marian on their radar, within Marian University, yes, it's a Catholic college, but living their Catholic faith out in a specific way, we have a program called the San Damiano Scholars Program that your child can apply for, where a lot of the things I said about MDI, being a church leader, and no matter what major they might want to go into or field, is that we should be thinking about how are we using the gifts in all these different fields to give back to the church. And it's over the 4 years or more of their education, when they're at a university, they'll be able to discern and pray through that and figure out how their call and their response to rebuild the church, as St. Francis heard, can be lived out in their own way.
Amen. Amen.
Yeah.
Well, what a great way to end this News from the Pews episode. Thanks for being on, Billy.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
We miss you a lot, but we're glad you're still a parishioner and that you and your dog and your beautiful wife live next door.
Yes.
It's awesome. It's awesome. And God bless all that you're doing for the church.
Yeah, thank you for having me on. It's just always a blessing to be here and in the Squirrel Division, specifically the office of the Squirrel Division. So
Billy,
shout out to who's behind the camera.
The only time that I've been on the roof of the church is with you.
Really?
And there has been much demand from News from the Pews viewers to have an on-site episode on the church roof. You have to be invited.
I would love to be
I know!
I would love to be invited.
Everybody, God bless you. See you next time.